Hey guys, Joel Frank here, market analyst for YouTrading, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about a trade idea that I'm looking at the moment. A little bit different to the one we discussed earlier in the week. We were looking at euro dollar, but today we're going to be looking at US equity markets. Now, before I tell you sort of what my trade idea is, let's just discuss what's been happening recently. You can see this is the S&P 500, or it's a CFD that tracks the S&P 500, and since mid-July, we've been rallying hard. Now, a couple of reasons for that. Earnings have been good. It's been a solid earnings season. Data has increasingly sort of piled up, showing that price pressures in the US appear to have peaked, which basically decreases uncertainty about the inflation outlook. There's still a lot of uncertainty about the inflation outlook, like how quickly inflation is going to come back to the Fed's 2% target. But at least it doesn't look like we're going to be talking about double-digit inflation in the US. At the moment, that's looking less likely anyway. And then recent communications from the Fed have been interpreted, you could say, as a positive. Like, one of the big moves we had here was on the 27th of July was a Fed day. And that was when markets, even though they hiked interest rates by 75 basis points, markets interpreted the Fed as not being so hawkish on the outlook for future rate hikes. But yeah, pretty much all these things have combined. We've had this big run up, but you can see here at the bottom, the relative strength index showed that the S&P 500 did rise into overbought territory. Now, that was when it sort of scaled 4,300. And by the way, this is the 200-day moving average. So oversold, we hit the 200-day moving average, and now it looks like we're getting a bit of profit taking, okay? And this profit taking could potentially extend for a little bit. And what support levels have you got to look at? Around here, just below, well, around the 4,200 level. That's a further, I mean, it's not actually that much of a drop. Maybe that's like 1.5% lower than current levels. I think, however, as has been the case in the last couple of weeks, there is a good chance that people are going to want to buy any such dip back to 4,200. Because if the data continues to move in a positive direction, that has been the case in the last couple of weeks, like the inflation data over the next couple of months keeps showing that inflation is coming down. Data relating to growth, like jobs, US jobs, ISM, PMI surveys, all that kind of stuff shows that the US economy is not actually in recession. Then that's kind of like a Goldilocks combination, which could keep the equity rally going. Okay, because remember, we have had these good earnings as well, which means that valuations are sort of justified at a higher level than back in June anyway, when we thought that the earnings weren't going to be anywhere near as strong as they have been. So yeah, I'd be looking at potentially getting involved around there. I mean, you could probably look at some of these uptrends as well that we've got going on. You could probably say that is a rough uptrend. And for me, equities are still in this uptrend. Now, okay, say we do fall back here and then we bounce and then we get above this week's highs and above the 200-day moving average. Where you're going to be looking at potentially targeting, well, 4,500, this high here from sort of mid to late April. That would be where you would sort of be looking at. But guys, there's a lot of uncertainty. We're going to have to see what happens because we haven't got a super established trend of inflation falling yet. And if there are upside surprises to the inflation numbers for August, because remember the ones that we've had recently are for July, they'll be trickling through in the beginning of September, basically. Then that could encourage the Fed to do another 75 basis point rate hike, which is not seen as the base case at the moment. And then you could be talking about this bullish scenario not playing out. You could be talking about us falling back towards, well, 4,000 pretty much. But yeah, the equity bulls, the investors will be hoping that that's not the case. I certainly am hoping that that's not the case, but you got to be prepared for all eventualities. So yeah, anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you all in the next one.